All right, good morning, good morning, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, wherever you are in the world. It's the Southern Gooner. I've got my peeps with me today. I've got my man TJ Warren is in the building, and we've got Monty in the building, and we are in therapy session this morning as we talk about the debacle that happened pretty much this entire season. I know it relates to yesterday, but it's pretty much this entire season. Gentlemen, how are we doing today?
Go Manny. I'll go off after.
Yeah, all I can say is that if we've drunk our sorrows away last night, consider this hangover therapy in the morning. So it's a good call to have it at this time. Glad to be here, Mr. Odom. I think this is the second time I've been in your company on your channel, and I'm looking forward to many more occasions because I have to say, having spoken to you, I love how you say things, keep it real, and let us be the first of many more.
Hey man, we have to keep it real. You know how it is over in the States. We have to keep it real over here, man. TJ, what's the word, brother?
Well, first of all, I forgot how good your intro is. That is a vibe. That intro is unbelievable, man. Matt, I'm fine. I'm on vacation, brother. I'm gone. I'm just playing the Arsenal way. You go on vacation starting on April Fool's Day, and you don't come back until, who knows if these guys are going to come back in August. We'll see. I'm going to go see these fools out in Washington, D.C.
We'll get into it. I was just about to ask you, were you actually going to see them? Gary asked me was I going to see it? And I was like, I'm not buying a ticket. He's like, well, I got a ticket. And I was like, well, if I don't see transfers, I'm not going up there. I'm not even wasting my time. If I don't see quality transfers, I'm not wasting my time.
I don't think you're going to see anything until August, man. So save yourself the gas.
We'll get into that in a little bit. We'll say that for the second half of the show.
There you go.
Right, so, fellas, we all watched that debacle yesterday, and I was on the panel with Lee, on the watch along with Lee, and I was looking in the chat, and I kept seeing people saying "Shaka at left back." So I just thought people were being funny. And I was like, "Oh man, they having a laugh in the chat today." And then when Lee put up the graphic, and he was actually at left back, I could not believe. I was actually, if you go back and watch it, you'll actually see my facial expression. I was actually in shock, no pun intended, that he was at left back. I could not see, and I looked at the team yesterday, and I said, "What are we playing? What is this that we're doing today?" And I knew immediately. I said, "You know what? This is going to be another. This going to be another shock fest, man." And it also just highlighted the fact that I knew then that Kieran Tierney was out of here. Mm-hmm. He's out of here. No, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And now it seems like to me, this is just me. After I got off yesterday, went to a little family gathering, came back home last night, watched the Lakers stink it up as well, which it compounded the
Go Denver. Go Denver.
Yeah. Compounded the foolishness. And I just was thinking to myself, I don't know how about y'all, but it felt like last year all over again. I had the feeling like I remember last year with that gut punch. When you realize that you start seeing the memes come out, you start seeing the go down Twitter, you start seeing the city graphics and the 3 times in a row. And I saw somebody put up I saw this somewhere in the chat yesterday. And somebody said from 2003, 2004, Arsenal Invincibles, 2023, 2024, the Delusionals. And I said, that's a good one. I'm gonna run with that, man. So I'm gonna love that, the Delusionals. Yeah. And it just seems like we're right back where we started last year. And for me, man, I'm starting to dread going into next season because I feel like this season and this entire season was a waste. and we're going to get in Champions League next year. And I just feel like it's going to be dark days, man. Monty, what's your thoughts, brother?
You could say, Mr. Odom, that we've gone from being the Invincibles to the Invisibles over the past few games. Invisibles, because that's exactly what we were. There was no sign of the same, resolve and confidence that we had during which sort of helped keep us at the top for as long as we were. Instead, we grew cocky. We grew a little bit arrogant. And then when things started to go pear-shaped, we almost didn't know what to do. In addition, we didn't seem to have much urgency to try to rectify the situation. And that, to me, really was what made things so sore. It was almost as if when you see a manager who prided himself almost on his tactical ability, and yet we saw how his tactics were literally shattered. Because against Southampton, for example, it wasn't so much that they scored early because Ramsdale had what I would otherwise call mental flatulence, or a brain fart, as you would say. But Southampton seemed really adept at being able to demolish our high line by playing balls well over the top and catching our defence out cold. And it was a strategy that had been, applied by Manchester United that early in the season at Old Trafford, because Eriksen was spraying those passes over the defence and Rashford was running onto them and scoring those goals. And we just, allowed ourselves to be outthought and outclassed by Erik ten Hag. So the warning signs were there. And a good manager has the ability to take a look at his system and his situation and say, you know what? There are times when maybe it might not work and I will need to have a plan B. You take a look at Pep Guardiola. He has the luxury of being able to tweak his defense and still come out with wins. But for the most part, you still have now started to see him use a conventional back four with none of this inverted nonsense. Or he at least has a knack of being able to adapt to a situation and change his system when the situation demands. And people are saying, we don't have the squad to be able to do that. Well, whose fault is that?
Yeah.
You can't just, again, say that you deserve credit for doing as well as you claim to have done. And when you don't do well, you use the same thing as an excuse. It's ridiculous. You live by your sword and you die by your sword. It's as simple as that. But we also can't, absolve Arteta of much blame, because as a manager, he ought to have had a say in the transfers that have gone on. And of course, when we got Trossard and Zinchenko, I mean, I wasn't one of those people who was predicting that we wouldn't win the league. I was prepared to let things sort of take their course. But again, it seems apparent that the same incompetencies have just been repeated and the chickens have once again come home to roost. It's ridiculous. And we're going to have the same cycle, the same carry on. It's as if, there was a famous comedy series called Fawlty Towers, which featured John Cleese from Monty Python fame. And there was a character named Manuel, who was the waiter, who didn't speak much English, obviously Spanish. And every time he would say, I know nothing, I come from Barcelona. Well, one of the memes going out right now is that Mikel Arteta is a little bit like Manuel the waiter from that television series. You can ask Jez and Warren and company about that, and they will tell you exactly the same. And even some of our English fans in the chat will remember that. But it's like the same cycle, which is sort of set to happen over and over again unless we get our act together. And nobody can be absolved of any kind of blame. That's the worst part of it. Yeah. So I'm sick of this backslapping and, back patting and having people say, well done, we did as well as we could, and we can't compete with Manchester City. For God's sake, we were top of the league for nearly 258 days. And even go ahead.
I was going to say, no, you're right, man. That's what I was trying to get people to realize yesterday, Monty, is that I don't think people understand how dire this is. We were leading 248 days, literally the entire season. Just threw it away. That's the pain. That's the pain, man. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Monty. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. I'm glad you cut in, because we needed that sort of emphasis over there. And again, people are saying, well, we can't compete with Manchester City. You know, it's as if we've been sold a dream and delivered a nightmare. And that's what really grates in many ways. And people, again, are going to continue to use this excuse of, well, we still have a young team. We're still learning the ropes. I'm sorry, but if you want to be treated with respect, you've got to behave in a manner that demands respect. If you don't take yourself seriously, you can't expect others to take you seriously. Shout out to the Aussie Gooner, from whom I got that quote, by the way. And so it's time for us to, it's not enough for us to demand a seat at the big boy table. We've got to act like big boys. And unless we do that, unless we pull our fingers out of our mouths and start getting our acts together, we're never going to be treated with any respect. It's as simple as that.
Yep. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Dale Boy's in the building. Hendon's in the building. Mino, of course. Ross, Carl Rossi, Strasburg, Steve, Spursy is in the building. We got a cast of characters in the building. And Jez is in the building. Who is the cool dude at the bottom? That's a young buck there, Jez. Clean shaven, man. Look at him. Clean shaven.
Thinks he's Tom Cruise without the uniform.
Yeah, man. He's in the danger zone.
I'm in the I'm singing in the bar. Right now.
Arsenal's in the danger zone.
Never close your eyes every time I kiss your lips.
Oh man, yeah.
Jez, I'm on vacation, man. I'm on vacation. Just TJ, like the players.
Take it away, brother. What's your thoughts on all this madness, man?
So I heard a funny joke that I'll repeat. Mikel Arteta brought in that dog, and all the dog did was teach Arsenal to roll over. So, with that horrible, horrible joke out of the way, we are, as my good friend Minerals would say, in the woods, gentlemen. I think that Mikel Arteta has been completely figured out. And I think the 3-4-3 that he played yesterday was out of a little bit of desperation. He's obviously looking to he either doesn't like Kieran Tierney or is trying to protect him so he can transfer him, which is exactly what is going to happen. As soon as the transfer window opens, I bet he's probably out within the month. So we're going to get rid of a world-class left back, but probably, hang on to the likes of Noon Tavash and Sambi Lakanga and all this other deadwood that we have in the club. So look forward to that. I think that if Edu sticks around, which he will, and Arteta sticks around, which he will, we will struggle to get top 4 next season. On top of all the obstacles that we have to look forward to in the Champions League, which I'm not looking forward to, by the way. I'm not. We're already out here getting bantered about the fact that we have a thin squad now, and we spent 90% of the season at the top only to drop it in April. If you think that the pain ends here, I have a bridge to sell you. We are in trouble, gentlemen. And I saw a comment earlier, and I think you might have started, Matt. So sorry if I'm getting ahead of you.
Yeah, go ahead.
My buddy Prince in the chat, big up Prince. He says rice should be done in June.
Yeah.
The only rice that is getting served at the Emirates is in the concessions. We are not going to get Declan Rice. The fact that we have expressed interest in Declan Rice means that Chelsea is going to come in, give a better offer, give a longer contract, and steal him out from under us. It's going to be the same thing that we saw with Mykhailo Mudryk, Steven, and, it's going to be one of those things. And I always say this, and I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but what is the best indication of future behavior? Past behavior.
Past behavior. Yeah.
Present and past behavior. So, sorry for being a pessimist. Okay, I've been going on these streams for about 2 months now, and people are starting to call me a Lee Gunner parrot, which is a compliment, by the way. You guys,
that means you're doing something right.
Yeah, you guys have this when is this fan base going to realize that this organizational leadership is just fine getting top 4?
Yes,
and they placated everybody in the fan base by getting rid of Wenger. But what in actuality has changed? The
Nothing.
results have not changed. And with that, I'll give it over to my wingman, Strasburg Steve.
Strasburg Steve is in the building. What's going on, brother?
Not much.
Good morning, man. Yeah, because it's morning where you at, right?
Yeah, 11:30.
Okay.
I'm watching a few games from around Europe, bro. I'm chilling. So
Good. Yeah, man. So, brother, I mean, y'all pretty much have done what y'all need to do, and we know what's coming down the pipe. TJ, I want to hit this point that you brought up, man. You know, I don't think we're going to qualify at all for Europe next year. I'm looking at probably a sixth, I'd say probably an eighth place, seventh, eighth place finish is what I've been thinking about.
Could be.
Yeah, because see, I just have this notion, man, that you're looking at United, they're getting ready to get a cash injection, probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks. City's going to rebuild. They're already offloading, so when they offload, they're getting ready to go for the creme de la creme.
I mean, City are finishing first next year. Let's not.
They're going for creme de la creme.
Let's not live in imaginary world.
Yeah. You've got Chelsea. I mean, sure, Bowley. Bowley's going to throw the money around, but they've got Pochettino coming in, so he has a better idea of what to spend money on. And so he'll start getting them in kind of decent shape. Then you've got you all, Steve. You've got Newcastle, who is like, I'd say Newcastle is probably, this is just my opinion, probably one of the most dangerous teams because
of course
they've got a good core and all they need is a few pieces, and then they're pretty much kind of,
Then it's squad depth.
Yeah.
After that, then it's squad depth. After that, it's about finding a backup to Trippier, a backup to Cher, backup to Botman, possibly.
Yep.
Maybe a goalkeeper if Nick Pope doesn't perform at a strong level anymore. New left back. We'll probably get Tierney off use. Thanks. And then it's just the midfield after that.
Yeah.
And then up front, bring in a winger or two. Then you've got depth in terms of Anthony Gordon will be allowed to progress. Hopefully there's something there. And the striker we're sorted. It's Isak, bro.
Yeah. I mean, you look at these teams strengthening, and I was listening to, I was watching, last night I did a deep dive. I was up late last night, man, watching the Haney and Lomachenko fight last night. So while I was watching it, I was deep diving, going through comments and stuff, man. I was just looking at the delusion in a lot of these comment sections. I went over to Talk Sport. I said, well, let me go see what they were talking about on Talk Sport today. Went over there.
No boy.
And they had a guy who called in, and he was Arteta out. But I went to the chat, and immediately people were saying, oh, this guy's a fool. Look at Arteta's got Arsenal in second place, and they're talking about getting rid of him. And it's just like, I don't think people really understand the objective of winning. I think people have gotten to the point where they just want to say, oh, well, we're better than Tottenham. And I think that overrules today with this football club. And I think that is a dangerous precedent to set, because
you're looking down, not up.
Yeah, bingo. You're not looking to the prize.
I'm not looking at Sunderland, bro. They're in a division below me. I give a damn what they're doing, bro. I'm worried about competing with Man City.
Yeah, I mean, we were in a title race. We were leading, not even in a title. We were leading the title race. And people are saying, oh, well, that's fine. We're second place. And then there's new, I'm telling you, we're going to be hearing, you got a laundry list of them coming out, a laundry list of different things. Well, now one of them is Man City has more money than we have. Well, damn it, you knew that 10 years ago. This isn't new. We knew they had money. But that didn't stop Liverpool from winning the title. That didn't stop Chelsea from winning the title. That didn't stop Tottenham for giving them upsetting the apple cart. Didn't stop Leicester City. They won it. They had money then. And so this is why these excuses of why we're in second place. It's absolutely asinine. It's absolutely asinine. People need to face the facts. The manager failed at a critical juncture of the season. This failure for me started in January. We were bringing in summer signings in January when we should have been bringing in experience getting quality loans, and shoring up whatever we need to have shored up just in case something went wrong. This mentality of finishing just to get into the Champions League, it started with Wenger, and I'm not go on Wenger on the Wenger diatribe because we'd be here for 4 hours because I was early, I was one of the earliest Wenger out folk on the internet, and I got slated way back in 2010, 2009. So I trust me, I'll save that for another day. But this mentality has been pumped in, and it's like propaganda, you know. It's just you've got the boxes everywhere, and it's just repeating the same thing, and then it soaks into the fan base. What they think? Oh well, we had a successful season. We finished in second place. How many teams wish they could have finished in second place? One guy in Lee's chat was saying, "Well, we had 80 points. What are we complaining about? We had 80 points," and it's just like, brother, y'all can't see the forest for the trees, man. But you just can't see the forest for the trees. Monty, I'm gonna let you talk about this acceptance of failure, because that's what it is ultimately. It's acceptance of failure.
Yeah.
It is. And I'll tell you one thing. I don't know if you might remember, Matt. Maybe you do. In 2006, that season, we reached the Champions League final, but that was also our final season at Highbury, which explains why our shirts were in the classic claret colour that season. The last game of the season, we had to play West Ham United to give ourselves a chance of finishing in the top four and ensuring Champions League qualification. And at that time, Spurs were they were ahead of us in such a way that if they had beaten we had to beat Wigan, and Spurs had to, West Ham had to beat Spurs to, make sure that we would qualify for the Champions League. We did our part beating Wigan 4-2, but Spurs were expected to beat West Ham. However, they had a case of food poisoning, of course, on the day just before the match. And I think that affected quite a few of their players and their morale, as they ended up losing 2-1 at the Berlin ground. What added to the intrigue was former Spurs striker Edward Sheringham missing a penalty for West Ham. And there was, of course, that idea that he deliberately missed that penalty because he didn't want to hurt his former club. Eventually, Spurs lost. And of course, when news got through to Highbury that Spurs had lost and we'd finished fourth, we were delighted because at least our final season at Highbury wasn't such an embarrassment. And it was it meant that even if we lost the Champions League final, which we ended up doing, we were still going to be in the Champions League. And to further rub salt into the wounds of Tottenham fans, we ended up singing "I'm Forever Blowing Bubbles." And I told myself then and there, we were a club that 2 seasons ago was celebrating the invincible season as it was a truly magnificent achievement. And even now, 20 years on, we still remember that as something wonderful, asking teams, is your Premiership trophy gold or something like that. We can't keep living in the past. The game moves on. And it is just disgusting how people have sort of allowed their own standards to drop by saying as long as we're able to finish above Tottenham and keep taking the mickey out of them, we can be happy. And again, of course, we have this whole finishing fourth as a trophy mentality. And then in the meantime, during in the current years since leaving Highbury, moving to the Emirates Stadium, all we ever won was a few FA Cups. While a team like Leicester, managed by a journeyman manager Claudio Ranieri, went on to win the title in 2016, with nowhere near the reputation or maybe even the talent that we had, although some of those players like Mahrez and Kante have since gone on to bigger and even better things. And I think Jaminho's comment is spot on there.
Yeah.
So
matter of fact, let's go, I'll leave it up there. Yeah.
So we keep having these excuses saying, well, the situation that we're in, we can't be expected to truly mount a challenge. And then in the interim, we end up promising so much every season, being top for a period of time, and then falling, and then just flattering to deceive. We finished second in 2016, but we never really looked like being champions, despite beating Leicester home and away. And I look back to that day and say that was the day that our standards started to drop. Because how could we look at ourselves and say, all is well. We finished fourth. We got one up over on Tottenham. Let's celebrate and be happy and rub it into their faces. We could very easily have been on the other side of that. And so we don't have the ability, as I think it was you or somebody else who said it on Del Boy's stream yesterday, we don't have the ability to be introspective or self-critical and tell ourselves we need to do better. And in as much as Wenger should be quite rightly blamed for his failure to, win any major trophies during the time we were at the Emirates when we moved there, the fans are also definitely complicit. And these fans are the ones who will be responsible, who are responsible now for the club standards having dropped, and for those standards to continue to drop in the near future. And the only reason why people can call it progression, as many of our friends have rightly said, is because we've been taken so far down that any direction upwards will be seen as an amazing success. Normally, second place would be good, except we were top of the league for 248 days. Officially the biggest bottle job in not just Premier League history, but Football League history in the top division. How can we be proud of ourselves for that? How dare we presume to try to give ourselves credit and pat ourselves on the back for saying, well, we had a young team which went toe-to-toe with Manchester City for so long, we were top of the division for so long, and we deserve credit for doing well. And when we lose, say, well, we're still a young team. You aren't expected to win anything with kids. Again, you live by your sword, you die by your sword. And until our fans develop that form of, humility and a willingness to be critical of ourselves, we're going to continue to underachieve, flatter to deceive, like you won't believe, and all we can do is hope that Mikel Arteta will do the right thing and leave. But we all know that's not going to happen.
Yep, that's one of the things that was I started seeing a lot of. Well, this team is young, and I quite frankly remember a team going to AC Milan with Fabregas scoring the winner. I don't know if I don't know if anybody got a.
Wasn't that team in the Champions League final pretty young too?
It was very
young. For you guys?
That was the team. Well, we were semi-young. That team was semi-young. We had younger teams after that actually did fairly well.
Okay.
And so when you look at that argument, this is why I say that's a bunk argument about you. It's about the manager, man. And I went back last night and looked at some of my fan cams with Lee, which is I think I'm going to do that with Lee. Is we're going to go back and review fan cams from this year and look at what was said prior to this, because I like the fact that this has been going on running for 3 or 4 years now with Arteta, because now you've got a body of work to point back to. You can say, well, we said this 2 years ago that this was the problem, and then you actually have something to show the actual here it is right here. We're looking dead at it. It's just not like we're just saying hey, we just want the man out just because we want the man out. No, you have a body of work now to go back and look at. We can go back to last year for 4 games left, points on the board. Everybody was saying that we got it. It's in our hands. We go down there, Strasbourg, Steve, and what happened? We get punched in the face, and then we just wither away. This year, it's all in our hands. Fish to fry, pie in the sky. All is well. Get punched in the face. Do people realize we had West Ham, who at the time was struggling with relegation, Everton, who's struggling with relegation, Southampton, who's relegated, and then Nottingham Forest, we bailed out of relegation yesterday. That's 4 teams that were at the bottom of the table. That's 4 teams. 1, 2, 3, 4.
You dropped 4 points to Southampton this season.
Yeah, 4 points to twice. You're right. For the first half of the season.
It's a draw.
Yeah. And look at this. And then you tell me that well, Matt, man, we beat Tottenham twice. We beat Manchester United. We beat Liverpool. We beat Chelsea. That's not progress. What is that if we can't beat the least of these, man? What is that? When you need to close it out. We can't close it out. And that's my biggest gripe about this year, is that for years we would struggle with teams like Bolton. We would struggle with the Minnows. And then it would cost us top 4, cost us getting into to the challenging for the title. And then now this year It's the same principle. When we need the critical wins, when the pressure's on, Sporting Lisbon 5-3. I mean, when we 2-2 the first game, 2-2. When we need PSV, we struggle against them.
They destroyed you in the home leg.
This is the problem. People are not looking at the quality of losses that we've had this year in draws. And people forget. Now I'm going to bring up something that's going to really sting. We were getting out of jail in about 6 of those games this year, 6 or 7 games. It was
Leads away.
Last second goals galore. Yeah. It was, we would start games out. We have to bail ourselves out. And I kept telling people, we can't keep living on the edge. We can't keep living on the edge. You know, Gary's in the chat. He'll tell you. I used to tell him all the time, Gary, we can't keep doing this, man. And it's gonna bite us in the behind. And then once it hit, boom, that's it. Yeah. And now we're sitting here upset. People are looking around, trying to find scapegoats to try to explain this. When all in fact, we pretty much saw this playing out. And what I told somebody yesterday, I'm not sure if it was y'all, Money, but I told somebody yesterday, what you saw yesterday at that game with Nottingham Forest is the Arsenal we should have saw all year long. That was the real Arsenal yesterday.
Oh, you did say that.
Yeah,
I remember.
That was the real Arsenal that we saw on yesterday. Steve, I mean, brother, you had a front row. But you know, because people don't realize Newcastle's been sitting there between 3rd and 4th all year too. So they pretty much been up, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 4th, 3rd, 4th. So y'all
occasionally 5th.
Yeah, occasional 5th. Y'all have sat here and watched this develop. What's your thoughts on watching this as a Newcastle fan from the outside, watching this capitulation from the beginning all the way to the end this season? And you know, we've all been in contact all year long talking about this and stuff. But go ahead, brother. The floor is yours.
Bro, I mean, it's a pattern now of starting really, really, really well, and towards the end of things, when the pressure's applied, the manager scrambles. The club overall is just in a scramble when there's pressure. When nobody expects anything of them, they can do all right at the beginning of the year because nobody demands that expectation no more or expects it. But as soon as you establish yourselves past, particularly in April, I think you guys have had a horrendous record across the years in April specifically, whatever achievement you're trying to get, whether that's trying to get into the Europa League and losing to Olympiacos or losing to, who was the other one? Sporting was in March, actually, but around the same time frame, you know what I'm saying? It's just the same old, really. Yeah, it's, bro, it honestly, at the end of the day, it's the January window was not good enough, so that's on Edu, and that's on the Cronkies for not trying to fucking, just push over the line, because everybody says you are going against a machine in Man City. Fine. So that means you have to move like Man City.
Steve, let me ask you this.
On their level.
Let me ask you a question, Steve. Let me ask you a question. Let's say you all needed, 6 or 7 points. Oh, I just use y'all situation now.
Yeah.
If you all fail to get Champions League from where you are, would you all keep Eddie Howe?
There would have to be some real questions asked. There definitely would be. Definitely would have to be questions asked. And if he went, you can't blame him, because if we don't pick up a point in the next 2 games and Man United overtake us and Liverpool win, bro, that they have to get a goal difference as well. Liverpool, they have to get goal difference because we have a better goal difference than them. Actually, it would take something catastrophic. And at this point, if you don't push it over the line, then there's a problem, man. Because this isn't even pressure, bro. It's getting a point out of Leicester at home and Chelsea away. We're not going to Man City away twice. This isn't Leicester, we could relegate them tomorrow, bro. They're terrible. It's a home game. We should be able to take care of business. So, yeah, if Eddie Howe somehow, some way failed, first of all, that would be the most Newcastle thing to ever happen, I swear to God. And number 2, that would be questions asked about the manager and players and whatnot. And now I also have to look at the January window and be like, why did we bring in Harrison Ashby when Trippier, that he's not going to push Trippier at that right back spot? You know, Harrison Ashby's 18, 19-year-old kid from West Ham that we got for peanuts. And Anthony Gordon, who hasn't contributed hugely much. Should we have gone stronger in that? Well, it was a gamble. It looks like it's going to pay off. But if it don't, then we got to ask questions. You know, we're at the beginning of an actual process, an actual, you know, because I've seen tangibly where we've gone under this ownership in a very short amount of time, with not every single, you know, we've spent money, of course, but it's not $1 billion in the past. You know what I'm saying? It's not extravagant. It's good money to spend, definitely, and we spent it well. But yeah, I would have to ask questions of Eddie Howe and some things. It would be a setback for sure. But with Arsenal, it's very different. It's very different because, number one, I would assume we can all agree your stature of Arsenal is much bigger on paper and in trophy cabinets and whatnot than Newcastle United, man. That's nothing crazy to say. So the club expectations are different right here, right now. But what I'm thinking is that we're going to overtake you guys in a few years in terms of just how Man City have done. You know, if you're Erling Haaland, why the hell, if you're going from RB Salzburg to Borussia Dortmund and then from Dortmund you're looking to land, why the hell would you go to Arsenal? You're going to go to Man City each and every time. If we go back 30 years and you had the Haaland equivalent of that time in terms of just goals, you look at Van Basten. Is Van Basten going to go from where was it? PSV or Ajax? I want to say it's Ajax. It was Ajax. Why would he go from Ajax to AC Milan? Or sorry, why wouldn't he go from Ajax to AC Milan instead of a Liverpool? You know? Like, he's never going to Liverpool. He's going to AC Milan. Haaland is going to Man City right here, right now, over Arsenal. So how have you let yourself deteriorate that much? That's the problem.
TJ, I want you to tackle that, and then I want to bring this up to you as well. He's saying, even Arteta is saying, Prince, what's up, brother? I meant to tell you what's up earlier.
What's up, Fawad?
Even Arteta is saying the mentality in April and May is the problem at the club. It comes down to the owners. They need to spend big. Now, for me, TJ, you know, one thing I said I'm going to start doing this summer is I'm going to nip this clunky spending in the bud. $500 million has been spent on transfers under this manager.
And a lot of it's been spent poorly.
That is a lot of dough getting thrown around. $500 million on transfers. And
more dough being thrown around than an Italian bakery.
Yeah, exactly. That's a lot of dough. It's a lot of dough, money. TJ, I'm going to let you tackle this and tackle what Steve said, brother. Knock yourself out.
Okay, so real quick, what Steve said. I'm just going to accent what he said, okay? We had Joao Felix available from loan for Atletico Madrid in January. In the right system, he scores 10 goals from January to May, minimum, I think. At Chelsea, it's not the right system for him, but he still went there. Why is that? Why can't first place Champions League bound Arsenal bring in the likes of Joao Felix? Why did it come down to the last week, almost last day of the transfer window to bring in a Chelsea pensioner and Trossard? That's all. That's just an accent on what Steve said, and it all comes down to Edu and Vinay, and Garlic Head and whoever. I don't even want to mention him, to be honest. All I know is that this club and the way that it conducts its transfers is absolutely shambolic and has no ambition whatsoever.
Yeah. You've allowed
No
yourself
ambition.
to deteriorate.
Yeah.
On a
So-
status level in terms of top players and
Yes.
top managers wanting
Yes.
to go there.
Exactly.
Sorry. Yeah.
Exactly. No, Steve, you're spot on. So that's it. Like, there's something wrong. I don't want to like quote Jez too much. Jez is in the chat. Big up, Jez. Yes, it is sunny in the U.S.
Yeah.
This
The
is rare.
problem-
It's rare. It's actually all sunny on all four corners too.
Yeah, it is. It is. It really is. But I'm on vacation, Jez. That's why I'm wearing these sunglasses.
Shout out to Jez in the chat.
But I don't want something is wrong. Something is rotten at the core here, and we need to figure it out. And I'm still of the mind that it is down to Edu and the way that he conducts transfers. He would pay $5 for a free sandwich. This guy will negotiate Arsenal out of transfers before he makes a good deal. Okay? So I'm done. Marquinhos, we paid $3 million for a free transfer. We got Jorginho in, a Chelsea pensioner, for 15 mil. Was it 15 million? Was he worth 15 million? If you really think about it, was he worth 15 million? I say no. I say no. But that's just me. So what was the Prince question? I think I augmented what Steve already said.
About this pull up. Let me go back here.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. It was about the here we go. There we go.
Yeah. Who's in charge of the mentality in this club? So I have not really stuck on the issues with transfers to Arteta, because I think he gives Edu a list and he says, you know what, do your best to get these players. And then he doesn't do it. So I've been giving Arteta a little bit of a pass on that, to be honest. And I think that's more accepting than some of our friends have been, which they're entitled to their opinion. Yeah. But the mentality of the club going into games like Southampton, going into games like freaking Liverpool, going into games like Nottingham Forest away, is down to Mikel Arteta and his staff. It's not Josh and Stan Kroenke are not in the change room giving the light bulb speech. They're not. So Mikel needs to hold responsibility for that, and so do the players. I still think that there is a leadership crisis at this club, in that there is none.
Yeah.
We saw a bit of leadership from the likes of Aaron Ramsdale, from the likes of Gabriel at the beginning. When they were making defensive mistakes, they were shouting each other down, saying, you need to be better. You need to be better. You need to be better. You do not see that out of the current leadership at the squad. Martin Odegaard leads by example, Matt. Martin Odegaard leads by example. That's the narrative. He leads by example. Yeah, well, we're seeing that because he disappears, and so does the team. So I want a new club captain. I'm honestly, they threw Ramsdale in front of the cameras last night to take that shit.
The week or 2 weeks before was Kivior, right?
Yep, exactly. So put the armband on Ramsdale then. If you're gonna throw him in front of the cameras, and I'm not excited about his new contract either. By the way, I think we can do better, but I'm not gonna go into that. But if Martin Odegaard is not gonna come out when the times are hard and take the licks for this club, he doesn't deserve to wear the armband.
Yeah.
So it comes down to a lack of leadership all over the place. So we need to take a strong look at ourselves, and Mikel especially, because he's not going anywhere, guys. He's not.
No, he ain't.
So let's just go. So let's just put that to bed now, and start holding the club responsible, and start holding the players responsible for how they conduct themselves and how they hold themselves accountable. Because April through May, they didn't do it.
You look over here, this money. You look over here at this transfer data.
Jesus.
And
oh man,
the thing that I want people to look at. This is when we talk. Cause me, and by the way, I'm going shameless plug. Me and Tony Clark, Gunner TV. We're going to be doing a weekly transfer show.
Yes.
And I'm pretty sure he sees this. He's going to look at these numbers, and we're going to have a field day going through these numbers.
Thanks for
But
Joe Willock, by the way, in 21-22.
yeah, I mean, I
Jesus.
want you to look at the money, not the money spent. Look at the money we got for players leaving.
That's atrocious.
Scandalous.
Free transfer, David Luiz. Free transfer, Saeed Kolasinac. Free transfer, David Luiz. Free transfer, Willian. Free transfer, Aubameyang. Free transfer, Callum Chambers. Free transfer, free transfer, Dejan Iliev. A lot of free transfers, man. And then Joe Willock for 30 M's.
Yeah, look at this. I mean, just look at this.
You're a terrible club at selling.
Look at
You're
this.
terrible.
It's shocking.
You got $2 million out of Guendouzi.
These are the numbers that are not being discussed. And when I hear people, well, we need to spend money. Look, we need to be getting money.
Yeah.
We're giving players away. We're loaning players out. I mean, money.
Yeah.
I see it in your face. It's a shock. What? I mean, but they're saying to Cronkite, we're not spending any money. The $500 million, and then look at what we're selling. When the regime came in, they said that they were not going to let players run down contracts. If they did not want to sign on the dotted line, they were going to release them. We've got Saliba that needs to be re-signed. We've got Reece Nielsen that's holding the club hostage. Money. What is going on around here, brother?
What is going on is quite simple, Mr. Odom. We have become a club that has gone. I mean, we've gone from a club that was well known for being financially sound to a club that doesn't even know how to spend its money. It's as if, it's fine to want to try to spend money, but it's bad enough that you spend money on players who don't cut the mustard. We end up not recouping enough money from the transfers. I really don't know what is going on with the finances, but when you also take a look into the fact that we got this fella Marquinhos from a club in Brazil, we could have had him for free, but then apparently, a fee was paid by Edu to the club to make sure the business would be continued. To me, that smells of a kickback, and it smells of the type of corruption that would see a lot of executives get nailed. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
If y'all had Arab owners, that would be investigated. Let's put it like that.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, we're going to talk about the Arab owners later. I have my own opinions, but I take a look at this, and there really does need to be some sort of an audit of the club's finances to find out just what the hell is going on over there. And people talk about how the selling of Emiliano Martinez was more of a financial decision. We ended up selling him for close to 20 million. It was 17 that was the fee, and of course I believe Arsenal would have gotten a few more things related to how he did at Aston Villa. And then we ended up selling Leno for an even more cut price deal and paying more money for Aaron Ramsdale. Huh?
3 million for Leno, right?
Yeah.
Something
cut
like that.
Price.
Yeah.
Cut price. I mean, only at Arsenal these days can we buy players for, a really inflated value, apparently, and then sell them for next to nothing. And then we pat ourselves on the back for, saving 72 million quid or 72 million pounds, by not signing Mudrak and going for Trossard instead. And then instead of going for Caicedo, we ended up getting Jorginho instead. The phrase penny wise, pound foolish comes to mind. And at least if you're able, it's a little bit like how in the governments for our countries, we seem to not be willing to spend money on the things that are really important, but we also don't have any ability or willingness to try to recoup what is rightfully ours in the form of taxes. So in the same way, Matt, when you consider that we want to try to let these players go, the very least we should do is try and make an effort to sell some of these players for higher prices. Yet we all know that the likes of Tierney and Xhaka will be going for pretty low values anyway. So what sort of financial operations are we running? What exactly are we playing at with regard to the money that we have available? How are we spending the money? And I mean, the proof of how we're spending it is there for all to see, really. Yeah. So the big problem with Arsenal is that because we don't have fan ownership, we're in a situation now where effectively all of this financial mismanagement is just being swept aside because the Kroenkes are effectively running it like their own personal hedge fund. But the irony is, if they were serious about using this as a hedge fund or a cash cow, they'd be livid at how much money is being lost. So, again, it just goes to show that when you have clowns at the head of your organization, all you've got is a freaking circus. We're hemorrhaging money. We're not winning anything. And that is something that needs to be really looked at. I think Warren said it yesterday perfectly on the show before you came in, Matt. Everything about the club is fake. It's just an attractive facade with a rotten interior. And it really, really needs a good cleaning out. Ridiculous.
Lee brought that up yesterday on the watch along yesterday about this facade that's going to fall next year. And you're starting to see the cracks in the mask now. I mean, you look over here and you see this right here. Because I'll keep going back to January. Look at this. $25 million for an unproven player coming in on a title run. You're in a title run.
That's a summer signing, not a January go win us the league signing.
And then, Trossard, we talk about Trossard, but you have to ask yourself, we brought in Trossard. What does that say about Eddie Nketiah? But last year, the manager was saying that Eddie Nketiah was backing this man. Well, what did you see for Eddie Nketiah the last 6 weeks? What did you see? But we spent $25 million in January on Trossard.
Yeah.
And we're still short in the striking department. Jesus is playing everything but striker. He's 10 goals all year. I think I heard 10 goals all year yesterday. Some number like that. It's a low number. It's not good enough for $50 million. We spent $50 million.
By comparison, Isak at Newcastle has what? I think it's 11 and 15.
Steve, if you just spent 10 more and got Erling Haaland for $60 million, you'd have damn near 40.
Yeah.
We also, like I told Lee yesterday, we put the down payment for Erling Haaland to go over there to City by buying these two right here. We paid for Erling Haaland. This is why I say to everybody, what the hell is going on right here? This is like in Superman. There's this villain called Bizarro. Yeah, it's the reverse Superman, and this is the reverse. This is the reverse alternate universe that I'm looking at, where people are looking. You can look at these numbers. You have the facts right in front of you. We let players like Matt Guendouzi. They say he had a bad attitude.
Guendouzi's fantastic.
But we keep a captain that throws the armband on the ground and tells the fans F off. And then now he's being celebrated. Steve, he's being celebrated for 1 year worth of work. 1 year. He's been celebrated. I'm not going to do it because I don't feel like going looking for it, but we got people singing songs for him and all of this stuff. This fan base is toast.
Well, I mean, you same fan base made a song about Nketiah. So I mean, again, the standards are just it's deteriorating. It's deteriorating, bro, and everyone is responsible for that. Everyone.
Can I ask the panel a question?
Go ahead, bro.
Is there a more clapped fan base in all of sports?
Man United, Yankees, Cowboys.
No. I mean, just in terms of the people that come out with like clown content. Like with I stopped watching.
I hate living with Red Sox fans.
Yeah, I stopped watching Lee's watch along because I had to go on Tony's. But the last thing that I saw was him showing that guy the goodbye song to Granit Xhaka.
Oh, fuck's sake.
Monty, have you seen that? Have you seen that, Monty?
Yeah, I think that's a parody of James Blunt's "Goodbye, My Love."
Yeah, it is. It is. But the point is that exists, Manny. That's my point.
I know that exists.
Any other fan bases do that? That's my question.
Yeah, but let me just say in response, I think Weird Al Yankovic has a perfect riposta.
Yeah.
He did a parody of James Blunt's "You're Beautiful" titled "You're Pitiful." I'd like all of you guys to retweet that and tag all of these Arteta inners in it. You're pitiful, you're pitiful, you're pitiful, it's true. Never had a date that you couldn't inflate. And you still live with your mother and you're 42. Well, it just sucks to be you.
Cheers. Cheers. He's got a voice on him. Good.
Yeah, I mean, we've definitely got a clap fan base. This just one gentleman on Twitter. I'm going to read this tweet out. It says, "Gone big on Zinchenko, can't defend. Gone big on Jesus, question marks on the amount of goals he can get. Midfield, finish. Saliba, not signing a new deal. No proper competition for soccer."
Wait, he isn't Saliba?
No, he's not.
He hasn't gotten a deal yet.
No.
Oh, shit, I'll take him in Newcastle then.
No proper competition for soccer. That's a great point, by the way. That we'll come to that in a second. No reliable squad depth. We've been preaching about that. Odegaard and the captain, we just brought it up now. Arteta's in-game and man management, and just a whole slew of issues that need to be taken care of. You know, this gentleman brings up a great point. Now we're getting ready to pay Saka $300,000 a week. That's the rumored amount. And what did we see the last 8 weeks from Brother Saka, who by right has pretty much carried us for the last couple of years? I think I heard Lee say yesterday, Jess, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Lee said yesterday he's played 78 of 79
straight games.
That is insanity.
God knows if that's including England World Cup and all that crap.
78 of 79. And I'll give you a snapshot. There was one game this season, it slips my mind, but he got injured. And Arteta refused to take him off.
Wasn't it the Europa League game against Sporting Club de Portugal?
It might have been it. He got injured.
Mm-hmm.
Looked at Arteta and was like, "Hey, I need to come off." And he's like, "Oh no,
it might have been the Europa League game against Sporting."
It was the first. It was the first leg, I think.
Yeah.
Oh.
He came on in the second half. The second leg.
Money. Yeah. What's your thoughts on bringing in competition next year for soccer?
It has to happen. It has to happen. It's the only way that Saka will get the rest he needs, but also the kick up the backside he needs. And also, you know, we keep running these young players into the ground. We're gonna hurt them, and we're gonna shorten their careers. It's happening. It's happening with Emile Smith-Rowe. It's happening with Saka. It's already happened with Jackie Wilshere.
Dele Alli.
Happened with Dele Alli's a different kettle of fish altogether. But
same concept, though.
Even at Spurs, Kane and Son are being run into the ground. They're going to end up finishing outside Europe. So it wouldn't surprise me if both of them ended up leaving. When you have a player like Saka who plays 78 or 79 games, you will expect him to be completely run into the ground so much that he doesn't contribute very much. And the worst part is that aside from maybe a few decent-looking crosses and touches and runs or what have you, he hasn't been as consistent. And so a smart manager would have the common sense to rest him for games where, you know, his influence wouldn't be missed too much and someone in that position would do a more than decent job. But instead, he's been playing all this time this season without a rest. And a lot of people are going to take for granted that he might end up having the whole summer off anyway, so he'll have adequate time to rest. No, because let's not forget, he's also going to be on international duty with England. There'll be training camps. He'll be expected to play under Gareth Southgate. What the hell is Arteta thinking at? So you need to make sure that you have some decent competition for Bukayo Saka, someone who is more than capable of picking up the slack and also challenging him for his place, while also, you know, being okay with the bench role in the understanding that Saka is more or less the guaranteed starter as the Hale End boy who should be hailed for having come good. But again, we see a situation where Reece Nelson is refusing a contract. We've treated Nicola Pepe like, last week's pad thai, as you would say, that side of the pond. I don't know how much you enjoy Thai food, but with so much coconut,
love it.
it does get get rotten very quickly. And if you know what you want for the squad, but you aren't willing to look at the proper options you have and to try and at least do something, you're going to set yourself up for failure. You can't keep asking your same star boy to keep playing week in and week out, because stars fade eventually. And Saka has ended up fading this season in these past few games. So when Arsenal play Wolves, I want to see some wholesale changes. I personally don't rate Aaron Ramsdale. I don't think he's captaincy material until he, stops playing the fool and pulls his finger out of his mouth, seriously. And I want to see your boy, Matthew Turner, get a start in the final game as a reward for the professionalism he showed this season, while also proving that he is more than capable and definitely competent. He's the US's number one. He should be treated with a little bit more respect. I want to see some youngsters come in. He brought on a guy named Waneri for the sole purpose of breaking the record for being the club with the youngest ever Premiership player. And then we discarded him. We didn't even give him a damn Europa League, a League Cup game, for crying out loud.
Play him the whole 90. Play him the whole 90.
Yeah, play some.
He's not even. Wait, is he even with the club anymore? Hold up.
Yeah, he's still on. He's still
on the club.
Yeah,
yeah. So bring in some of the kids. If you want to give Xhaka and Tierney their farewells, by all means do so. But the likes of Saka, the likes of Odegaard, the likes of Gabriel Jesus, who have faded and floundered, they need to be benched and not given a chance to play. I mean, the title's over, and City, of course, have had their own title match today, and they're about to have their title party celebrating in front of their fans. They deserve to. I mean, their final matches are away from the Etihad, so this is probably the best chance they can have to lift the trophy and enjoy themselves. Yeah. So we don't have anything to play for this season. It is effectively, just a thank you match. So rest the entire first team and give some of the youth a chance to play. See which ones can, prove themselves. See which ones are worth keeping at the club. And then, take it from there and roll on next season. But knowing Arteta, it's going to be the same starting. Yeah, it's going to be the same starting 11. I'm going to bet my left arm that if Zinchenko were miraculously fit, he'll shove him back into the lineup, and Tierney won't even be in the squad. What an absolute!
He might not even dress out next week. I won't be surprised if he didn't even dress out next week.
Bro, just come fly up to Newcastle, man, and watch us play. Watch us go away to. Actually, no, we'll be at Stamford Bridge. So Tierney, just drive on your car or walk on over to Stamford Bridge and see Newcastle in the flesh, man. See if you like it. I'm sure you will.
Brother Anthony.
Yeah, I mean,
shameless.
Brother Anthony is in the chat, and this is a great chat here. Would Odegaard get into any elite European football club? I don't think so, and that is why Ancelotti banned him from Real Madrid. And I've got a saying: if Real Madrid, if City,
Bayern
Munich, if these teams are letting players go, those are the players you do not want.
If you want to be serious,
if you want to be serious, because that is usually a hand-me-down, and you don't. And God, stay away from Chelsea players, So I just this year.
But we never learn our lesson, Matt. That's the problem. I mean, we keep signing these Chelsea rejects, Jorginho being the latest one, and of course Newcastle aren't exactly innocent, because I do seem to remember them shelling out a great deal of moolah to get Michael Owen from Real Madrid.
Yeah, that was and look how that turned out. That guy was just always injured.
How
shit about us?
How angry are we going to be when we bring in Mason Mount?
It'll be we're going to get like chicken scrap. I know what's coming. God. We're going to get chicken scraps in this transfer window. It's going to be chicken.
We're going to get Mason Mount, and AFTV is going to throw a parade for itself. Watch.
Yeah, we're going to get chicken scraps, and then they're going to dress it up, and they're going to pump it out.
It's I hope you buy Ndombele or something. That'd be hilarious.
It's like when we got Jorginho. What did you hear? I remember sitting on the panel that day with Tony. And me and Tony was sitting there, and I said, Jorginho, when we went to the table, South State, we could have bought him, and they showed up with 60 million when they asked for 90 million on the last day. I mean, that shows you how stupid we are as a football club. We they tell us the price, and then you look at the money, and people say, "Well, we know we got to sell players. We can't do that either." I just showed you all that chart. You can barely get 20 million for 10 players in a transfer window. This club is clapped. The fan base is clapped. It is as and because I'm not monetized, I can say this. Shit comes from the top down.
Yeah.
Yep.
Why were we shit under Mike Ashley? Because it's Mike Ashley.
Yeah, Mike Ashley. Yeah, everybody knows that.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah, we just don't take things serious, man. This football club stopped being serious ever since it left Highbury. I'm telling you, man, the attitude of this football club has just completely went down. We were sold a lie. We would knock down a stadium to compete with the likes of Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, and we are instead competing with the likes of Southampton, Dagenham Red, Queens Park Rangers, Millwall. I mean, that's who we're competing. We're not competing with the big boys. And I'm mighty afraid that when we get in this Champions League next year, gentlemen, we're going to get found out real quick. We're going to get found out. Mark Arteta is going to get found out real quick in this Champions League. And we're going to be sent back packing. And I'm going to bring up something that's going to, you'll probably start hearing this after a while too. I'm going to bring up a point. So let's say we go out. Let's play devil's advocate, gentlemen. I love doing this from time to time. Let's say we go out. Let's say we get Declan Rice, Salcedo. Let's go get, the gravy train. And let's say we sign these players, and then we get into the Champions League next year. We get dumped out, go back to the Europa League, and then we scuffle for top 4. So what happens in the next summer window? This is my theory on why Saliba has not signed a new contract. He wants to see consecutive success.
Second place finishes bare minimum.
Yeah. And this is the problem that we're going to have. See, people still think we automatically will just attract superstar athletes now that we're in the Champions League. And this is, if I was someone on the outside looking in, I would have to see this. When I look at, Borussia Dortmund, I know they're going to be competing. Red Bull, they're going to be competing. So I wouldn't mind going to them. I look at Arsenal,
especially if you're a young player as well.
Yep. And then this is why. I think it was Steve brought it up earlier about Declan Rice. This is why I said and Lee brought this up yesterday. If City goes in for Declan Rice, he's going to City. It's no questions asked.
Yeah.
And so TJ, how critical is it that we actually not only do something in the Champions League but go far? Because if we don't do it and we go right back to the Europa League, then it's just pretty much. Here we go. It's the same thing, and then you're gonna have people coming in picking off transfers, and it's gonna have long-term ramifications, man. If we don't...
the argument could be made that if we don't at least make the round of 16, it's gonna affect us for the next 5 or 6 years. Like we're gonna need to completely rebuild. From the top down, and only keeping core players like Saka, and then the rest of the team honestly could probably go. I'm not of the opinion that we are going to go far because of our transfer policies. I'm really not. I'm just hoping that we don't get absolutely bent over on the draw. That's really our only chance, because no matter what, we're going to draw PSG, we're going to draw Barcelona, we're going to draw a Real Madrid,
Napoli.
We're going to draw one of them, Napoli.
Napoli are looking at Jurgen Klopp, by the way.
Yeah, I know, I saw that. I mean, and then we could possibly draw, we could draw the freaking champions of Portugal and get in and be in trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm more worried about the fact. The quality of the squad is not good enough to beat a European League champion. They're not. So regardless of whether of how we get drawn, the transfer window, this summer's transfer window will tell the tale for this team over the next 5 or 6 years. Clip me saying that. Because if we do not bring in heavy hitters to back up Saka, to surpass Gabriel Jesus, and I can't believe I'm saying that. Gabriel Jesus, I was so excited about Gabriel Jesus, and he just was not it for us. If we do not bolster the midfield, if we do not bolster the back line, if we do not get at least 2 Premier League quality fullbacks, we are in the mud, guys. Before we're sinking. We are stuck at the starting blocks, false start settings, guys. So, I hope that answers your question, Matt. I essentially I agree. But the biggest thing, and I agree with you, if we do not succeed in this Champions League by getting out of at least the group stage, are the prestige of this club goes into
nosedive.
Yeah. You look at, I remember discussing, talking to several people there when we went through that really rough patch. Was it year before last when we were like down there in the bottom, near the bottom at one point, and people were saying, "Oh, Arsenal will never get relegated." And I mean, I'm sitting here looking at Everton. Scuffling. And I tell people, man, it's not a divine right just because we're Arsenal to be where we are. It's not a divine right. And I think the fan base gets lost in that. You have to work. The one thing I will say about the Premier League is that wherever your place is in the table, you have to work to get there. And I know somebody say, "Well, y'all in second place. What does that mean?" Of course, we did outstanding the first half of the season. The first half, we were outstanding. We were a title challenging team. The first half of the season.
Nobody expected it.
Yeah.
You got to put that out there.
And Steve, and I also want to say this. Everybody on this panel was praising Arsenal. We all praised Arsenal. We all praised the manager. Yeah. And then when January transfer window came in, most of us, if not all, said that we wanted to see signings of intent.
Because you're coming up against Man City in a title race.
We knew what was going to happen coming down the stretch. We know City has won just about their last, matter of fact, these last 3 titles, they have won from a position of not leading. We knew this was coming. And we did not put in stop gaps. We did not put in any kind of preparation. And the thing that really irks me the most about this is that we didn't even have to beat City to really even win this title this year. We just need to beat everybody else around them. And we got to where we needed to be, and we crapped the bed. We crapped the bed several times over. And from that, I blame the manager. I blame Edu. I blame the dog that they brought in. I'm blaming everybody. Everybody. And it's a complete failure. And starting this summer, I don't know about you all, but I'm holding this club's feet to the fire for the entire year. Mr. Gunner says he thinks that he'll be out by Christmas. I think he'll be done by October, November. I think he's going to be out much sooner than that next year. There, 30,000 fans walked out of that stadium a couple of weeks ago. You can't. Monty, we were joking on before on air. I'll use it now. You can't piss down my back and tell me it's raining.
Yep.
30,000 people walked out of that stadium. That's 30,000 people that know better. They know right from wrong. They know right from wrong.
That's not just a random event that had no meaning behind it.
Yeah. That the people.
It's no coincidence.
Yeah. The Boo Birds will come back out next year. I think we're going to see kind of what we saw with Wenger. Either you're going to be one way or another way. And the battle lines are going to be drawn again because we are not where we need to be. 4 years of no trophies. 4 years of no trophies is unacceptable. I'm sorry. It is unacceptable for a club like Arsenal Football Club not to be competing. We threw away 3 cup competitions this year, ladies and gentlemen. 3. We could have at least been playing Roma last week for that spot. There's no reason we shouldn't have been playing them for that. But because of our arrogancy, we feel like we can do what we want to do. Oh, it's Arsenal. It doesn't matter. We played. What's that team we played there? The cracks were already there. What's that team we played with Odegaard, not Odegaard, but with Ozil had to score to bail us out.
Ostersund.
Yeah, had to go over there
Is it?
and bail out against that. That
Won
right
the
there.
first leg, and then they went to the Emirates and beat the second leg, but it wasn't enough.
That was those cracks had been there, and I think somebody in the chat brought the cracks had been here for years.
Yeah.
Just been papering over the cracks. We have faltered across the board, gentlemen. We have faltered across the board. This year was the worst of the worst. We are now etched in the panels of history of being the worst team to be in a position to win the title and then to flop like we did. You have to. This year, this transfer window, they have to go out and get world-class players. Will they get world-class players? We all probably know they won't. But you have.
I think it's more likely we bring in one.
Yo, you'll probably get two. It's no doubt in my mind y'all want to get at least two. You want to at least get two. You're going to get probably a youngster for the future, and you're probably getting an established player out of nowhere. It wouldn't surprise me. But see, that's the way. Steve, this is what I want you to realize. Newcastle's moving with swag. They're moving. They're
very quickly.
They have an agenda. This is where we want to be at. Y'all are ahead. Y'all are ahead of schedule. Y'all are ahead. Y'all are about 2 years ahead. Arsenal is about 3 years behind.
That's generous.
3 to 4 years behind. With United, we're getting ready to be way off behind because they're getting ready. We already know they were spending money before they get more money. So, people forget, man, United used to be the big boys that splash the cash. If they wanted somebody, they go get them. And
now it's not that way anymore.
No, everything's upside down. So now Arsenal's got to go out there. We've got to compete with Europe's elite plus what we've got going on around us domestically. We're in deep doo-doo, y'all. We're in deep doo-doo. Monty, we're getting ready to round this thing out. I'm gonna let you speak on that. We're gonna go around and we're gonna shut this thing down. But we are in deep doo-doo.
Yep. No, I mean, it writes itself, dude. But enough of the nonsense. Yes, we are completely in it. We are in it so deep that not even a most powerful crane can get us out, and we don't even have enough energy in our lungs to try to crawl our way out of it. But changes do have to be made, and if not changes, at least introspection. And that is something that I've said on Twitter, and I still have some friends who are coming at me saying, look, you need to be proud of everything that's happened this season. You have overachieved. And whenever I brought up the point that we can't use our youth as an excuse when we fail, but credit our youth when we win, because we can't allow ourselves to try and have both the penny and the bun, people say, look at me as if I'm being completely unfair. I think the fan base really needs to look at themselves as well and sort of realize that you can't keep using this excuse. One thing I think the fans, the Arteta in fans, and us will agree on, is that next season, if we flatter to deceive, then questions will definitely be asked, because there has to be a point when even those devoted believers will end up realizing that the Emperor has no clothes on, and eventually, once they start realizing it, not only will they, kick themselves for having been played for fools, but also demand swift action and retribution as a means of feeling better for themselves. We've seen it happen time and time again, and history will repeat itself. If we don't learn from history, it will be repeated, and that is why we need to have a lot of introspection. Right now, we have to look at ourselves, ask a lot of questions, and really take things for more than face value. And if we start to do that, if we can start to have that come to Jesus or come to whatever deity you worship moment, then maybe there's hope. But again, as almost with everything in life, it is the hope that kills you.
Monty, where can people find you at, brother?
On social media, you can find me on Instagram at mannythangarai1981. That's my full name mentioned next to me and my year of birth. If you want to catch me on Twitter, where I'm in touch with TJ, Mr. Makala, and Mr. Odom, it's Thangarai1981, which is my surname and my year of birth. Big up to Mr. Odom for having me on. Hopefully, this will definitely be the first of many more full streams we'll do together. Big up as well to Mr. Makala and Mr. Warren. Always love chatting with these three fine people. And you can also catch me on several other fan channels on YouTube, mainly Arsenal fan channels like Del Boy Gunner TV, S. Featley TV. Also, big up to the likes of Oris Talks Football and Coach's Corner. Big up as well to Tony Claude Gunner TV, where I believe Mr. Warren and Mr. Odom will be going quite soon. And Makala also works with him. Danny AFC TV, I do a lot of work with him, including a few watch-alongs. Shout out as well to Up the Cherries in All Departments, which is the Bournemouth fan channel. Also, Spurs U Asia TV, which is a Tottenham fan channel run by Eugene, a friend of mine in Malaysia. I go there as an Arsenal fan in peace. I don't like engaging in banter. And some other fan channels like AFC Talk Show TV, Huddersfield Town Fan TV, Villa TV. I don't just go on the Arsenal fan channels. I'm a football fan first and foremost. And I go on other channels to lend a different perspective, just like Mr. Makala's doing right now. And one thing which I always say is I don't like banter. I don't like snide comments. We're all fans of the beautiful game, and that is where we have to learn to find some common ground. A wise person once said that we need to learn to coexist as equal. If we don't learn to live together as equals, we will perish together as fools. And I also say that if we can't agree to disagree without being disagreeable, there's no point in having a discussion. Let's keep it simple. Let's keep it respectful and learn to respect one another. Big up to everyone in the chat. Thanks a lot for joining in. You're the ones who make this video and Matt's channel what they are. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a good upcoming week. Don't do anything that Mr. Odom, Mr. Warren, Mr. Makala, and myself wouldn't do. But now I am out, and I need to get some food in me.
Get you some
Cheers,
meat,
everyone.
All right, man. Thanks, Monty, for coming through, brother.
All right, always, mate. Cheers. Bye, everyone.
Schadenfreude says, Matt, Arsenal built this weak culture when they let go of prime captain Vieira, best left back Ashley Cole, and even David Dean. Don't want anything to do with the club anymore. I'll tell you who somebody else they let go. They let Robin Van Persie go. When we saw Robin Van Persie to Manchester United, I knew then something was.
That's a beta male move.
Yeah, that is. I had to catch myself because I don't want to get busted too hard. I almost said something there, but I had to catch it. That right there told me that something was stinking in the water. I knew something was starting to stink when we started seeing stuff like that. I just thought I would never see the day that Arsene Wenger would have sold a prolific striker to his own to the rival and literally we gave them a title too the next year too. So I mean this stupid behavior from Arsenal, man, has been long coming, man, and it's time to root this stuff out of it, man. Jez, shout out to you, brother. I think Jez got a show today at 2:00, man. Kenny Ken and Diesel 888 is going to be over there. So I saw Diesel. I said, it's gonna be rough today, man. Diesel and Kenny on the same show. Yeah, it's gonna be. Woo. I mean, it's already will be tough over there with you and Tony, TJ. But man, man. Steve got tomorrow, man. You got a match tomorrow against Leicester City. Yeah. Should win. Y'all should win, but of course, it is. I always say relegation teams are teams that you don't want to face. All you need is a point, as you stated earlier, and y'all are in the promised land, according to you all. And so, what is your prediction for tomorrow, and where can people find you at, brother?
4-0 win. These guys are
easy.
I mean, if you guys have been watching Leicester past few weeks, you wouldn't think that they're a relegation team, and that's the problem. They aren't behaving like a relegation team. They're conceding 5 goals to Fulham.
You know what the problem is?
Fulham are on the beach.
You know what the problem is with Leicester, right?
The midfield is terrible.
But that even since the owner passed away, unfortunately, they have never been able to get it straight, man. They have never been able to get it straight.
Because his son and the father ran the club in completely different ways.
Yeah.
Other problem is King Power, their sponsor, obviously, is tourism based, and then COVID happened. Yep. So that's like having investments in icebergs, and then all of them melt in the world, all of them. And then it's like, oh, I have no money now.
Yeah, unfortunate, man.
So, yeah, you're right. But you know what? That's the whole problem, right? If you can't secure funding from somewhere, if you're so reliant on one thing to make you money as a company, you're screwed, man.
Yeah,
you're screwed. I mean, it's kind of funny because obviously my oil club or whatever, bro, they said in the 80s we would run out. So we probably got a long way before that runs out. You know what I'm saying? But also what they're doing in the Middle East is promoting tourism and other stuff. So, but anyways, yeah, it is. Leicester have been a shadow of themselves since the helicopter accident with their owners. It's wicked sad, but that's the thing, man. The Premier League don't take no pity on no one.
Yeah,
if you stand still,
it'll pass you by.
Yeah, I'll pass you by. They won a Premier League title more recently than you guys, and they're probably going to be playing in the championship.
Yeah, I'll tell all my American buddies over here, man. We talk about sports all the time, and I talk. We all watch the NFL and stuff like that over here. And I tell my buddies, I say the one thing about that Premier League table, it is unforgiving. Where you are, man.
Nottingham Forest have won European Cups. They've been in the second tier for years. Aston Villa have won the European Cup. They've been in the second tier for years. You've also got the likes of I'm forgetting one more. Leeds. Leeds have won league titles before in their history, 70s, and then the last one before the Premier League era started in 91, 92. And you know what? The next victim of that, I think, Spurs. I think they'll be battling relegation within the next 10 years, the way their club's moving.
I agree with that.
Yeah, they have a relegation defense this year.
I kept it to myself just based off of what I watched from them especially this year. It is, that's, man, we'd have to do it. You've got to do a show on teams that are far. That gives me an idea. I think I'm going to do a show on.
Look at Everton.
I'm going to get Jez on. Jez is a historian of the game. I'm going to have to do a show with Jez on teams that are falling by the wayside, man.
Newcastle.
Historical
relegated.
Everton.
With them. Was
West Ham.
Yeah.
So, I mean, no one is too big to fail in this league and in other leagues, too, because Hamburg have been relegated. Kaiserslautern have won a Bundesliga. Werder Bremen. You know, it happens to everyone, man. You cannot stay still in elite sport. Otherwise, you're going to get left for dust. So, but, I think we'll win 4-0. I think we're just going to take care of business, to be honest. And, I see Leicester starting strong in the first 10 minutes because that's what they've been seeming to do. But then as soon as adversity hits, they fold like a deck of cards, like nothing you've ever seen, man. So,
all right, TJ, tell everybody where they can find you at, brother. I'll be over there with y'all on Friday too. So,
I was about to ask Matt just to confirm. Yes, TJ Warren TV, American Idiot Show, episode 11, featuring Matt, the Southern Gooner. That'll be 9 p.m. UK time, maybe a little earlier. I need to talk with Dal and figure out when that's going to be. Matt, we'll loop you in and just see what your availability is.
Yeah.
So we just hit 250 subscribers over at TJ Warren TV. I owe that to too many people, and I will mention that on my call-in show at 8:30 p.m. UK time after Jez is done preaching the truth on his channel. I'm also going over to Tony Claude Gunner TV to defend the club against the likes of Deji Spurs, which is a chore that I did not think I would need to actually do today. But here we are. So yeah, join me over there if you would like. Big up, Matt. Thank you so much for having me on, man. It's always a pleasure to share the screen with you. It's an honor, honestly. And big up, Steve. I am Steve in now. You know, especially when he's stressing. I feel for
Well,
him.
Borussia Dortmund just scored, so
All right.
they're
Yeah,
gonna
big
win
up Borussia Dortmund. They're my
who have
favorite team.
now are on their way to winning a league
yeah,
title more
again, Matt-
recently than
Yeah.
Arsenal.
A lot
Matt,
of people don't know I'm a Dortmund fan, so
yeah, me too.
I'm thrilled that we have ended the reign of Bayern Munich.
Yeah,
No, you got to get over the line because Dortmund and Arsenal, they love bottling things against these
Yeah.
bum ass
Oh,
teams.
Yeah,
jeez.
but what you call it, Bayern Munich is that now you talk about a team,
Shit.
you know they're gonna make some wholesale changes.
You guys are in trouble.
We better.
Yeah.
Yep. But Matt, again, thank you for having me on,
Appreciate it,
man.
brother,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Appreciate it, man. All right, man. Look, everybody, want to say thank you for tuning in this afternoon and this morning and evening, wherever you are in the world. I want to say thanks for getting me over the 500 subscriber line. It looks like I'm almost at 600 now.
Nice.
Let's go.
So I want to say thanks to that, man. I will be on tomorrow with Lee, Kenny, and Jez on the Real Talk Arsenal with Lee tomorrow.
Nice.
Awesome.
Well, once again, as TJ stated, Friday I'll be on with him and brother OG, Oregon Gooner, and we'll be talking about this mess. Also, the week after next, I'll have Tony Clark going on. We'll talk about the end of the season and we'll talk about the transfer window, and we'll go from there, man. So hopefully, if Tony has room on his panel today, I'll come through there today. If not, then it is what it is. I will sit back and sip on some nice water and kick my feet up in this summer breeze and listen to this preaching. And once again, everybody, I want to say thanks. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. And Arsenal fans, got to start holding the feet to the fire. We have to start before it's too late, y'all. Ladies and gentlemen, we are out. Peace.